Just to explain, the HDMI is not working and we can't project.
So the current problem is the HDMI cable is not working, so we cannot project. Thank you for your patience.
guys. So we don't know how long this is going to take. So would you be comfortable instead of starting with starting with our report update?
Starting with our reports updates, since we don't need a presentation for that, and then still this morning hopefully do the motion for members. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll start with Team Annual Congress reports, and our first department will be the Internal Affairs Department. Start with the Vice President of Internal Affairs, just so the where they went through the meeting that you were supposed to present your updates since the time of writing your report since the time from writing your report.
You're supposed to present your updates since the time of writing your reports until today. So this is what the team members will be doing, and Carolina will start.
Carolina VPA, I would like to give my updates since writing the report. So I had the last GA organization working group meeting, scheduled and hosted now as training, sent an email to the team to get the team arrival information for the 15 meeting, contacted ECCRT regarding the GA, joined the budget meeting and the statute revision meeting, GA preparation meeting and the AAV meeting and the grant meeting, scheduled and hosted the meeting to explain elections to the LSs, contacted the president of AEFF UP about the team meeting venue, finalized the lesson association of the year, had a meeting with an individual member who wanted to run for the EPSA team, read the reports and asked questions, did the room allocation for the team meeting, created a Facebook group, the Telegram channel for the participants of the 63rd General Assembly, printed and laminated the new voting cards and the name tags for the 33rd G, spoke the lessons about their late report, answered VP, HD, VMF, finalized the last details of the organization of the 33rd GA, joined the 15 meeting, had a meeting with members about the motion, and brought the materials for the event.
Thank you, Carolina. I will ask the floor if you have any questions for Carolina's report or her updates. I have a new one from Anne France.
Anne France. First of all, congratulations for your mandate and especially for having been so available and reactive with us all the year. You mentioned in your report that one station have approached you, as we saw yesterday, but have you tried to approach some of them by yourself, especially in countries that are not yet represented in EPSA?
Carolina VPA, no, I have not. There are not many countries left. They're small, and I don't think that it should be a priority, especially with the organization of the GA. I had enough of my plate.
Thank you, Carolina. Now pass for Romania.
Andrei, Hospital Romania, I would like to congratulate you as well for the work in your mandate, and I'd like to ask you if you could tell us generally what the situation with Italy is and like what the future in EPSA will be.
Thank you, Carolina.
Current NPA, I have been perfectly in contact with the LS. They are not very active. They didn't change mandates, so they didn't have an LS training this year. They are paying their membership fee, but that's basically it.
Thank you. I have another viewpoint from Anne France.
Théo in France, do you see any topic or things that can be added during the new LS training session?
Carolina?
In current WPA, yes, I do. There are several points that I would like to raise with my successor about the LS training. I'll also gather feedback from the LSs during the LS survey for the year, so we will see what the next BPA will do with the project.
Thank you again, Carolina. I don't have any new points. Okay, EPSA in Turkey.
EPSA in Turkey. In the body project part, you stated that your plans are the evolution of the body project. Can you elaborate on this plan and we can discuss what can be done by LSs and the team?
Current WPA, I already talked to you during the LS meeting. I already talked to the team during the meeting. So the feedback is gathered. Now it's just making sure that the next BPA knows what the feedback is and it's their decision to do what they wish with the project.
Thank you, Carolina. Again, I'll ask their new points. APE Portugal.
APE Portugal. We were wondering if you have any plans regarding to increase the engagement of the lessons that are not that active.
Thank you, Carolina.
Karina PAA. This question is very broad and hard to answer because in general the engagement of the LSs should improve. It's just not the inactive ones. And that is something that I will do during the handover with the next BPA for sure. I think because of the pandemic and the online mandates, the structure of the position has changed a little bit and it should be more emphasized what LS job is and how they should behave, especially towards the team and the activity of EPSA in general.
Thank you, Carolina. Are there new points? SF Switzerland?
Valentine, also Switzerland. I have seen in a report of the chairperson of, let me say that correctly, just of, I don't exactly know the name of them, but like of an event, of excellence. And there it has been stated that there have been LSs that were moved and also participants that were moved towards the registration officer. And I wanted to ask you if you have any strategies how this could be reduced and make sure that this won't happen again.
Thank you, Carolina.
Carolina VPA, the report is from 43rd EPSA General Assembly Chairperson, so Katia. So we already talked to the RC about it, and really it's the responsibility of the official delegates to make sure that their students know how to behave. We have backed the RC with our help how much we could, but we cannot make sure that every single person out of 350 that are joining the AC will behave like a decent human being.
Thank you, Carolina. APE Portugal?
In Portugal, in one of the reports, I believe that is the Professional Affairs Coordinator one, it stated that in the EPSA team you're doing your work as the coordinator that you are, and that it should have more collaboration between different elements of the EPSA team, but that in the end of the day, that she is the coordinator and she's the one responsible for assuring that everything in the position is done. We were wondering, how do you plan to just try to increase the collaboration between the different EPSA team members and to just improve the efficiency of the different positions in this matter? Thank you.
Canada PA. We have, as executive, been discussing this the whole mandate. So there is a lot of collaboration sometimes there are just periods of time in the positions that they are really just focusing on their project. So we try to create possibilities to collaborate as much as we can, but we also know that for some positions, they just have very specific tasks and projects that they need to do, that the collaboration can be done, but it's not a priority, and they want to focus on clearly making sure that their job is done.
Thank you. I don't have any viewpoints in the speakers list. All right.
Then we'll move on to the next position, and that will be Maeva. Can you please come here? Thank you, and I will ask you to present your updates.
Hello everyone, I am Alumni Coordinator. Since delivering my reports, I was in contact with Alexander Vulpesh, in charge of the Alumni platform, to set up the next steps, hosted a meeting with the AAB and the EPSA executive, who was in contact with alumni for activities during the summer university in Basel, worked together with Kathy, event coordinator, on some investigation related to the EPSA events, attended part of the 15 meeting online, coordinated a chat with the EPSA alumni that wanted to follow the 63rd GA from online, the live stream and so on, and performed various tasks related to the organization of the 63rd GA as part of the GA organization for human rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Maeva. Are there any questions for Maeva? Pastor Romania?
Andrei, first for Romania, congratulations Maeva on your report, and I wanted to ask you, you mentioned in your report that you want to collaborate with alumni on the Science Monthly. Could you please elaborate a little bit on that?
Maeva?
My Alumni Coordinator, this was actually the science coordinator that reached out to see, to me, to check with the pool if any one of them will be interested in writing article for the Science Monthly, or also giving us valuable inputs for it. So what I've been doing is opening a call within the alumni newsletter, asking for anyone that would be willing to talk on.
Thank you. Then I have Hans.
Theo and France, congratulations for your third mandate in the EPSA team. NF is proud of you and of having a person as committed as you. So our question is, have you thought about a strategy that will make alumni register more in the future in the alumni platform?
My alumni coordinator, this will be also tackled during the handover period with my potential successor, so that we will try to see for the launch of the platform, the new platform that will be established, to see how to get people signing in and how to run the platform in general. But when it comes to just having the alumni first entering the pool, it's mainly about promotion and letting them know that when their mandate as official or EPSA team or reception committee member is done, they actually need to sign in, and it's not just automatic that you join the pool. That's the lack that I see. This is why they are not automatically there. Yes.
Thank you, Maeva. Are there any more questions? As a Twitter?
Valentine Asif Switzerland. In the document of strategic focus areas under the chapter Internal Strategies Alumni, there it is written that you or EPSA wants to reward alumni for showing or show gratitude. And I wanted to ask you, what exactly does that reward look like? Would it just be a letter of gratitude, or what are you planning on doing so?
Maeva?
Coordinator. I'm sorry, I don't know what we were talking about yet. Can I have a look, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's
Carolina, they're going to be testing the mic.
Carolina PPA works.
My Alumni Coordinator, thank you for waiting for us. She's mentioning as a sentence in the strategic plan when it is stated that alumni represent a huge part of EPSA and we should find a way to reward them for their dedication and the time spent. This relates in general to the alumni project, which is actually aiming at giving back to the people that were involved in EPSA before. So the whole project is about keeping them close, still giving them opportunities to now enjoy their time in EPSA, maybe with the alumni weekends, creating the alumni platform for them to have a space to be in contact together. And finally, we also have some possibilities like granting them HLM nominations or anything else if they did a huge work for EPSA. I hope that was clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Maeva. Okay, I have a new point from you, Sam.
Shall we live in Turkey? This year we are planning to create an online platform for our member organization, association. Actually, we started to invite, but we have very less registrations than we expected now. Can you please explain what's the way to increase the number of members at the beginning?
My Alumni Coordinator, at the very
Can you please repeat because I couldn't?
Can you please repeat because I could not understand what you meant with the question? Thank you.
Yes, keep saying.
Chairperson, this year we are planning to create an alumni platform for our association. We started to invite our alumni, but so far we have very less registrations than we expected. And can you please explain what is the way to increase the number of members for alumni platform at the beginning?
My Alumni Coordinator, I think this will be, in general, this will be on the case-to-case basis. I think from an association to another, the strategy will vary a bit because it also depends on those people that you are expecting to become alumni and what is the contact that you have with them, how to reach out. So I think it will be a broader discussion. So I will be available during the rest of the week if you want to discuss and I can help out. And in general, if any members want to work on their alumni pool, structure it or whatsoever, I will be available if you need any tips or help on how we are proceeding in EPSA.
Thank you, Maeva. I don't have any new points registered, so I'll ask if anyone has any other points to raise or any questions to ask Maeva. If not, thank you, Maeva, and I will ask Kati to come and present her updates.
since the writing of the report, most of my time has been spent on the organization of the 16th GA, as this was most urgent and also therefore my highest priority. I have aided the potential RCs with preparation of the bids that they will prepare tomorrow during the GA. I've reminded the LSs of the open goal and have been in contact with some associations regarding the organization of the Summer University of 2023, as there are still no hosts. I've liaised with Andrea and the SU22 RC about the pre-visit taking place in June. I've planned meetings with the RC during the GA, and as this is always done with the RCs during the events. Yesterday I've held the first attending session with the help of several team members. I've prepared a workshop that I will give today on how to organize an EPSA event. During the 5th team meeting, I've gathered input on alternative activities that could be held during EPSA events, both useful in lowering the costs as well as having an alternative for students that might not want to party every evening or do not drink alcohol. This was based on an action point, and I've also presented during the 5th team meeting the plan I have with my Alumni Coordinator on making a list for European sponsors that RCs could contact, therefore helping them with the sponsorship. And I've also been in contact with RCs that are currently in place to organize a social media takeover so that they could show other associations on the EPSA social media account what it's like to organize an event and potentially motivate them to become an RC.
Thank you so much, Kati, and I'm sorry for the technical issues. I will open the floor for questions for Kati. Does anyone have a question that they want to ask? Yes, I have a new point from Slovenia. And we also registered the other points.
My question is about what do you think is the level of knowledge the potential future RCs have about the events and the organization of those? And do you think there should be more done even by the LSs, or how do you think?
Thank you, Kati.
Kathy, Events Coordinator, thank you for your question. Well, I think this really depends per RC. Every association is different, and also like the level of knowledge they have before becoming an RC is different. What I always do with every RC, once they are interested, I will have like a short meeting. I've had a couple of meetings with some of you, and this was just about explaining what events look like, what the different events look like what event would fit your association best. Do you have a lot of experience and would you really like to focus on a big event? Then I would suggest going for an AC. If you do not have that much experience, like organizing an SU or maybe even a TAT, which is not an official, one of the official 3Fs events, but it's also a really fun event to organize. So this really depends, and I think that in general the knowledge will also come once you are in place, and especially during the preparation of the bid, because preparing a bid takes a lot of time, and it's also constant communication between the EPSA teams, or the events coordinator, and the RC. So if I feel like they don't have knowledge, then that will clearly show when presenting the bid and presenting like the updates they have so far.
Thank you, Kati. Next, I have Pastor Romeo.
Andrei, first for Romania, congratulations, Katie, on your whole mandate and your report. And I'd like to ask you, how was the communication with the AC21RC after the event?
Thank you, Kati.
Kathy, Events Coordinator. Well, first I mostly have been in contact with RPC members individually about how it's like been after the mandate, but the contact has been decreasing, and the main contact was with Gauthier about his reports, which have been handed in now.
Thank you. Next up.
To add something, I've also been in contact with the treasurer because the financial report should be delivered within 1 year. So they still had half a mandate, but I just suggested like if you feel like you would want to present it now, this can be done. It doesn't have to be 1 year. And from personal experience, I think it's easier to do it within half a mandate than within like 1 year, because checking up on finances that you did 1 year ago might get confusing because you just don't remember everything perfectly.
Thank you. Now I have Asif Switzerland.
Valentine of Switzerland. First of all, thank you for your report. I wanted to ask you if EPSA generally has strategies planned on how to encounter the constant decrease of interest in organizing EPSA events, or if you have some implementations that could maybe be for the next mandate on how EPSA could maybe organize events on motivating their MOs to organize events. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy, Events Coordinator. Thank you for this question. Well, this year I really focused on investigating first why there's a lack of interest from organizing member events, like in a really past. There were like a lot of bids. You can maybe not imagine it now, but during like an event you had like 3 bids per event. So for example, you have like in total maybe even 5 or 6 bids just being presented, and then only 3 getting elected because we don't have that much events. So you can kind of see a difference with what it's been like the last couple of years and what it's been now. So that's basically what I focused on this year. And I do have some ideas, like for example, I think that it should be promoted more over social media. So for example, Instagram, that's also the idea for the social media takeover. I also had an idea for the promotional video of EPSA events in general, but this is a quite big project and the PR department is still working on it. And other plans are just reminding the LSs frequently, making sure that they are aware that they can always plan a meeting with the events coordinator and that no strings are attached. They can just always approach me, so you can always approach me if you're interested in organizing an event. And just like making sure that everyone is aware that EPSA is searching for bids, because the awareness about this is super important, because otherwise it's just difficult, and there are some regulation changes that are proposed and that will be discussed, and these might also facilitate organizing the event. These are partly about, for example, lowering the standards of events, the leading things from the EPSA handbook that focus on, for example, having just beds of 2 people and 4 people, because the price per bed is way higher for this as compared to like 6 or 8 people rooms. So it has been under discussion, but we don't know how to succeed further. And during the handover project, I will just focus on making sure that my successor really knows like what to do and how to succeed. And especially in the beginning, it's difficult to see the essential of having an RC appointed now, especially for like the summer university, because it feels 1 year away, but 1 year is really little in organizing an event.
Thank you, Kathy. Next I have GPSF Chris.
GPSF would like to congratulate you on your efforts.
I have a technical from Marlene, sorry.
GPSF would like to congratulate you on your efforts on being so proactive on the idea about the third event holder, and of course about the excellent communication with the EPSA for the project. Thank you.
Thank you, GPSF. Next I have Bev Spain.
Andrei, Spain, first of all, congratulations on your amazing work. Every time we called you, you were really responsive, which makes our work really easier. And I would like to ask you if, for how it's going with the search for a host for the Summer University 2023, and if you have planned a secondary option. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy?
Kathy, Events Coordinator. Thank you for the question. Well, like I mentioned in my updates, I don't have any hosts, or like, I have some people that might be interested, but like, might be interested in this case is saying that once they maybe in 5 years, or having said in like the investigation that they potentially would be interested, that for me is someone already potentially interested. So it's not like someone saying, hey, I want to host it. It's saying someone, I might want to host it, but I am not sure. So there are associations that are in that category. And if there's no host, like I will continue finding the host. The deadline is now closing basically, because it was open until the GA if no association had been found. It will open again, or Thursday states that the executive can appoint an RC 1 month prior to the event, so this will be during the current summer university. So then the call will, or not the call will open, but the exec can appoint someone. So I will try to focus these 3 months or 2 months to really find someone interested, to help them in preparation of the bid book, so that it can be like presented during the first team meeting, and then the exec can appoint it to RC. The difference between like having an event like a GA, so AA or AC, and having like the SU, is that we need to have GA. We cannot have GA online because French regulations don't allow it. Summer university, there are some regulations about the summer university, but not about the GA itself. So it could be done online, like we did last year, but this is also under discussion with the Vice President of Education, since this has proven to be a lot of work and people are honestly tired of online events. And we're not sure if we are willing to put in such an effort for an online event and also the money, because online platforms are quite expensive, if we do not think that students will go there.
Thank you, Kati. And next I have SAD Lithuania.
Yes, Lithuania. First of all, we want to congratulate you on your report, on your mandate, and thank you for organizing all the amazing events this year. Our question would be, what do you think was the most effective way to motivate member organizations to become an RC for an event, since the popularity of hosting the events is increasing, so congratulations with that. So what do you think is the most important thing that you could maybe during the handover emphasize it to the next events coordinator, like do this to make people host the event? Thank you,
Kati.
As events coordinator, well, I think first of all, one thing that really helps is in general contacting the lessons, making sure that they are aware, like the whole investigation, making sure that's really a topic and not just like, hey, we're searching for hosts, come to me if you want to host an event, because that's just not really appealing. You really have to inform them what it's like to organize an event, tell them information, like even if they don't ask for it, just make sure that the information is out there and that they don't have to go through like the whole events handbook and then be like, oh, okay, now I know what you're asking from me. And second of all, I think one of the biggest ones is just having live events, because I saw a huge interest in organizing events actually on. Everyone knew what the RC was doing, members were approaching me, oh, it's so cool what the RC are doing. Like from one part, oh my god, it's so exhausting, but on the other part it was like, I really love seeing how they are working and organizing this, and everyone was super thankful to the RC. And this is also like, if you see someone else organizing an event, and you're like, I would like to do this as well, then this helps with like motivating people. So there were a lot of associations interested, and then I followed up with all of them, and that's also why we received quite some bits after, like in the GA after the live event. So I hope that this will continuously improve and remain the same, so that every year we do have like a continuous flow of events.
Thank you, Kati. I don't have any new points in the list. Does anyone else wish to speak or ask a question? If not, thank you so much, Kati, for presenting your updates and your answering the questions, and we will move on to Elena. Please come here.
Okay, so since writing the report in the RC, we have obviously continued our work to make the EPSA University happen, and specifically we have been looking a lot for more sponsors and also for the missing venues for the evening program. We have also planned or started planning the pre-visit. We have continued with the registrations. We have started making the waiting list because all other places are taken. We have shared the promotional material with the LSs, and we have continued being present on our social media. And yes, I think that's it. And then I have also prepared like just a presentation about the summer university, so that you are all up to date with everything we have done so far. Yes. So first of all, our team, the introduction. Okay. Yes, so this is our team. We had an RC meeting where we all met together, and then there are some people who unfortunately couldn't attend due to other reasons. But yes, we had a lot of fun, and we are a really nice team, and we are complete, so we have all positions filled. exactly. The registrations, as mentioned, we have started making the waiting list. However, we have still reserved places for all associations. 2 places per country are reserved. I strongly encourage all LSs who don't have any participant from their country yet to make promotion for the event, because the summer university is going to be really nice and you still have those 2 places until Sunday. So please use the promotion material that I sent and share it with your students. Okay, sorry, it was a presentation from the team meeting, but now there should be the one for the GA. Yes, because I will send the team in more detail there. Yes, so we have, with me as a chairperson, we have Caro as the vice chairperson and educational officer, Alicia for sponsoring, and Yasmin as treasurer. Then we have Teresa. Yasmin and Teresa are also here if you want to talk to them. She does logistics, Fanny and Daniela do the registrations. Jana is for the helping team, and then we have Julian for PR, Marlene for social program, and Alyosha for the IT. Yes, so this is for the registrations. Then here a brief overview of the program. So Monday will be basically arrivals, but we're making sure that people who arrive early will have fun too. So there's a park where we will have games and everything. In the evening we'll have the opening ceremony. On Tuesday there will be an education program and then a city rally in Basel. In the evening we'll have the international night. On Wednesday there will also be a lot of educational program, and in the evening a German and Swiss night. And then on Thursday, again, education program and also the science excursions. Well, they are on Wednesday, I think. Sorry. And then we'll have trips and sightseeing and the gala night. So that's the plan. Then about the logistics we have so far, it will be. So here's the hotel. It's quite close to the central station. So it's quite central. It's like maximum 20 minutes from the walk to the city center. Then we have the educational venue on the other side of the city, but Basel is small, so it's all quite reachable. And then the church in the middle is where we'll have the opening ceremony. And this is where we have the educational venue. It's a new building. It's really nice. So already coming for that would be worth it. The educational program, it will be all about the role of emotional intelligence in healthcare, so it's a really important topic. We're currently looking for speakers for the workshops and also for hosts for the science excursions. We have one science excursion already fixed to the pharmacy museum. That is quite nice in Basel. Yes, and we'll also have a public health campaign that we're organizing now with Tasha together that is about being active and eating healthy. Then about the finances, so far we have raised almost 10,000 in sponsoring, and we are also in talks with 2 more sponsors, and we are applying to grants to get more money from there, and also to non-monetary sponsors, for example, for food or goodies to decrease the cost of it. Here's the budget. I'm not sure how exactly you want to see it. I can go through it. You want me to go through it or not?
The motion cards, if you want to go through the screen, if not, rest.
Okay. So maybe the income is not that important. It's basically registrations and then sponsorship. You see, we have 24,000 in sponsoring. We are at 10,000 now, so we still have some work to do. But we're confident that it will work out. And then for the expenses, our main expenses are the hotel and the food. Then we got the educational venue for free, which is really nice. For the promotional material, The social program is mainly the venues that we are paying for. Yes, and then obviously for the RC we can do also something for the t-shirts for the RC, and then we have Advocacy. Anything is, yeah, happens. And then all the prices are obviously also in francs and in euros because it's Switzerland, we pay in francs. Okay, and now the plans are like to recruit the helping team. It's not complete yet, and also to strongly focus on the logistics and the sponsors so that we are safe on that side, and to find speakers for the workshops and the science excursions, and to finalize the registration. And if you're not following us yet, please do so on these channels. And that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask now or later.
Thank you. First question is from ASTEF Switzerland.
Alumni Coordinator Switzerland, first of all, thank you very much for your presentation. I admire how much work you put in for EPSA and also ASTEF Switzerland, so thank you very much. And my question is towards the stand on the helping team. You mentioned that the team isn't complete yet, and also, as far as I know, the search has been going on for quite a while. How are you planning on increasing the interest for joining the helping team?
So we have been at a party in Basel to make promotion there, which I think did already help, and we're also doing more promotion towards the representatives in Germany, for example. We're also sharing it to the local associations and also presenting it at the universities there.
Next we have Spain.
Andrei, Spain. First of all, congratulations on your amazing work. And my question was if you have any kind of recommendation for future RS, RC, I'm sorry, or events coordinator. Thank you.
Elena, Chairperson, you mean any recommendation or on any specific topic?
No, any recommendation.
Okay, Elena, Chairperson. So I would recommend starting with especially the logistics and the sponsoring as early as possible, because it's a process that takes a lot of time. And also I would recommend doing the helping team promotion before starting with the registration, so that people from the own country don't register as normal participants, so that they're aware of the helping team. And yeah, I think it's also really important for the RC to really work well together, so that you have team building from the beginning, and that you meet in person as much as possible, because it really enhances the work that you are doing together.
Well, a technical from me. Can someone from the Chairperson working group go ask them to turn on the lights, because I can't see, for example, now how many fingers Asif has?
It's two.
Okay. Asif?
Valentine, ASTEF Switzerland, on the recommendations, I wanted to ask you if you have specific recommendations for hosting events in Switzerland, because it is really expensive, and ASTEF Switzerland is thinking about planning on doing IPSF events in the future. So do you have any recommendations on how to decrease the price? Thanks.
Elena, Chairperson of the Summer University. I don't think that the price can be reduced much, I must say. I don't think that we could have gotten a cheaper accommodation. Maybe you can save a bit on food by having less fancy food, and going to a huge store and buying everything on your own, but otherwise I don't think it can be reduced much actually, and you just need good sponsors. So you need a lot. I think it's good to have more time than 7 months to get the sponsors. That would really help, I think.
Thank you. Next we have Pastor Romania.
Andrei, Pastor Romania. We'd like to ask you if you could give us an overview of what plans you have for the helping team activity.
Elena, Chairperson, do you mean to recruit the helping team, or what they're going to be doing?
what activities will they do? What plans for their activity and the organization of the event?
Like during the event. Sorry. Like, so we Elena Chairperson. So we're planning to do like a team building before the event, so that they also work well together and to show them also around Basel, so that they know the city before showing people around. So that's what we're doing beforehand with them. We're also having some who are more involved in social programming and logistics. And then during the event, they will obviously like help with bringing people from one place to the other. They will help with the city ready to have the stands there, and they will. I guess it's the same as in Lyon. Like they will help with the food distribution and with to ensure that everybody knows where to go and when to be there.
Thank you to your organization working group. Next we have South Denmark.
Jasmine September. I have a question. How many spots are there left for
Sorry, what happened? You need to speak louder.
Jasmine September. I have a question. How many spots are there left for like normal participants? I'm just asking in order to like make the promotion for the rest of the sub. Thank you.
Elena, Chairperson, so there are only the spots left that we have reserved for each country and for the EPSA team. All other places that were like free of everything, they are all taken, and the waiting list is also already quite full. So like for Denmark, I think we still have the 2 spots. So it's worth to do the promotion for that.
Thank you. Next I have Kenny speak in the Netherlands.
Just Chairperson in the Netherlands. Firstly, we would like to congratulate you on the report. I was wondering about the collaboration between multiple countries and multiple students. Do you recommend it, or did you find any difficulties?
Elena, Chairperson, thank you for your question. The collaboration is really good so far. So like we don't have any issues with it, and I think the only like difficulty is that people are quite spread out between countries and places, but I think we're managing good on that, and I mean it gives you more options for sponsors and for like also logistics, and I don't know, ordering t-shirts. Also we're not bound to do that in Switzerland, but we can easily do it in Germany where it's a bit cheaper. So it gives you more flexibility, and the collaboration is really good so far.
Thank you. I don't have any new ones. Carolina?
Because WPA, I'll stand up because I want to see all my colleagues. I just would like to thank you for all your hard work that you did this mandate. It was very easy to be you in my department. And thank you very much for stepping up for the organization of the GA. Your work really has been tremendous, and I cannot thank all of you enough.
Input from Kati?
Kathy, as coordinator, I also want to thank you on behalf of the whole EPSA team on all the work you've been on. Not just you, but our team members that are also sitting here. You've really been doing a great job. It's honestly surprising how you even managed to organize so much, and getting so many registrations within such a short amount of time is also really impressive. You guys are honestly doing a great job, and just keep up the work for a couple of months, and then just relax on the event, enjoy the most out of it, and then take your after EPSA break.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you to all the internal affairs department. We'll go back now, since we have on the way to have a presentation here. We'll go back to the motion from the beginning. I have a technical problem. Can you please do the Netherlands first? Can you, Naiva, can you just click the button on the middle and it will turn on?
In the middle? Yeah. There's a button there. No, it won't reject. Because this one's not working and this one's the one connected to theirs. We'll try to fix it in the break. Is it okay?
TKA, the technician is coming at 10:30. There's an issue with the system that's like, so there's a big issue that needs to be solved.
PC will send you to the LS group. Will send you the motion sheet, so you all have access to the word. Yeah, I'm really sorry for how the email is, but I've sent it to you guys. And I'll read the motion. The 63rd EPSA General Assembly mandates that, for the duration of the elections of the EPSA team 2022-2023, any official delegate who is elected for a position in the EPSA executive can go back to their delegation table after their election and remain there for the rest of the elections procedure. If they are elected, they shall make sure that they are speaking as executive-elect and not on behalf of their association during the coordinator's appointment meeting. I open the floor. No, I asked the proposer and seconder, the GPSF Greece and Anne France, if they would like to say some words before I open the floor. GPSF?
Every GPSF Greece. So after the discussion that was held in the preview today and POD's meeting yesterday, we feel that we would like to propose this motion. So to achieve that any OP that wishes the decision of any OP to apply for the EPSA team will not prohibit them to actually fulfill their duties and be able to support their candidates during the elections. This is very important for us because we believe that our candidates, people from our organizations and people who second their applications trust us, and we want to be present during the internal discussion and support their applications. While also we think that all these are people who might be strong candidates for the executives, and we don't want to deprive them of the opportunity to apply for the EPSA team. So yeah, what we are actually proposing is to give them the opportunity to keep their OP status if they are executive elect.
Thank you. Anne?
Anne France. After the discussion at the General Assembly in Lyon on the proposed regulation changes, saying that the accumulation of candidate and official delegate status during the election can be possible, we were expecting a new proposal aligning with the opinion of the General Assembly, who voted against it. As it was not the case, we worked hard and did a lot of research on two motions, one ruling on this case during this election, and one other mandating the executive to review this regulation for the next General Assembly.
Thank you. Just to make sure that everyone knows, even though Theo just told you about another motion, we'll be focusing on only this motion during the discussion, and I open the floor for discussion on the motion. Does anyone have points? Joseph?
Joseph President. Joseph President. To present the position of the executive on the motion proposed. We agree with the GPS and ANAP's common goal, and we see, as they do see, the problem identified with the election procedure. As it was mentioned, this was raised during the AC, but unfortunately it wasn't followed up since. We did contact AAB and other selected alumni to discuss this with them, and although we got some valuable input, there have been also contradictory advices given to us, which just shows the sensitivity and complications of election procedure. With that being mentioned, we do not feel comfortable with addressing this without any further investigations. The elections are a very complicated process, and we don't want to compromise the structure and introduce any unintended consequences. As it was mentioned, we are aware that members are planning a motion about investigation into the election procedure, and we fully support this step.
Thank you. GPSF?
EPSA, please. Thank you very much for your comments. We understand the sensitivity of the issue. However, we believe that this is an ongoing situation. Many member associations have expressed their difficulties. Sometimes it is not possible for even smaller associations to have dual days during the GAs, and so being able to, if the one of the wants to be an executive elect and they are elected, it is difficult then to support their other candidates. So members have expressed this opinion, and we don't know if we actually postpone this, we will have much better results on this.
Thank you. Next we have AFO, and I feel like someone else raised their hand, but no, sorry, Joseph was here.
Yes, Mr. President, we do understand your position, and we don't want to make the discussion into the members convincing us. This is a place for members to discuss among themselves the motion. We stated our opinion, and we would like to leave it at that.
Thank you, Joseph. Then AFO.
Annika, from Boston. We are worried about the last sentence because how are you going to make sure that they're really speaking as executive elect, and do you have like a regulation sheet for it? What would be the consequences? And we find it a little bit difficult.
Thank you. Before I give the floor to Anna, just a point of information from the part of the PC. The second sentence didn't even need to be there because in the coordinators appointed meeting, they are only executive election, not ODs. Even if there's the same person, the proposer and the seconder discussed this with the PC, and they just added it to reinforce the importance of it. Anna.
Dear France, I just want to highlight that as LS and official delegates, when we are taking the floor on General Assembly, we speak on behalf of our association and not on behalf of our own interest. And it happens sometimes that I have different opinion on my member organization, but it doesn't matter. I speak on their behalf, so I support my association opinion. And when a person is elected as exec-elect, he speaks on behalf of its own opinion. And furthermore, when you elect a person, that's because you trust him to do the position and handle all the things that imply this position. So if you do not trust someone to be able to give its own opinion during executive elect meeting, you should not be elected.
Thank you. Next I have a new point from PPSA Poland.
We have EPSA Poland. EPSA believes such a solution could pose a risk of creating a precedent in the way the EPSA elections are run. We believe that the person, upon joining the executive and partaking in the close discussion on future coordinators, shouldn't be able to go back to the table and represent the member association, and thus it can pose a risk of them being able to undermine the compromise already reached by the executive. It also creates a loophole in the regulations where the delegate and his member organization have, even if unconsciously, some insight into the opinion of the freshly elected executive. That is by the regulations meant to be kept behind the closed doors. And we also believe that it is in the member organization's responsibility to prepare the delegation for the GA. Therefore, we do believe that it's up for MO to have enough ODs to represent the association, and there's also no need for the LS to be exactly as the OD, as we can see even at this GA examples of associations that don't have the LS present as the OD. Thank you.
Thank you, Abel, for the clarification.
Joseph, a question, can you please clarify the regulations you're talking about, please?
Okay, there's a Poland.
We have EPSA Poland and standing order 13.6, where after all the points are concluded, the newly elected executive and the former one only shall meet behind closed doors and reach a decision regarding the proposal of the coordinator's appointment.
Yeah, sorry, before we continue the discussion, since it's a regulations question, I will need you to restate what you said because I didn't understand. We should be the one informing you about regulations. No, but please explain because I didn't understand what you said.
We have EPSA Poland, just to answer, we were referring to standing orders 13.6 when talking about the executive deciding on the proposal for the coordinators behind the closed door.
Yes, but we know the article. I just need you to explain what you were saying about the article. Like, you spoke about this article to say what? That's what I didn't understand. You shouldn't be putting point information through his Exactly. Apeth asked what regulation we're referring to. BC does not have a question about what regulation we're referring to. Has a question about you're referring. What did you refer to? When you referred to this regulation, what were you saying? Does this make any sense? Yes, why did you make a reference to this?
Yeah, I was referring to it because we believe that if a decision is made by the executive behind the closed doors, everything should stay behind the closed doors, and we believe that this motion could pose a risk that the information could leave the room as the person has both the OD and the executive position. Therefore, there's simply a risk for us in this.
Okay. Thank you. Please, you guys, be careful with the direct, but first we have Anna.
France. I just want to highlight that in the past it was common practice. 1 year ago, when I will give you 2 examples. 1 year ago, when Molina was elected SecGen, during online executive meeting for the appointment of the next coordinator, she was present as executive elect. Then, during the online LS meeting, she was present as LS of Austria and voted on behalf of her association. So that's exactly the same case that happened in online election, and we have also the same case with Maeva 2 years ago when she was VPIA and then LS of Anefron during online LS meeting. So that's happened during online election, and we do this to clarify it during live election, but it's like really the same. And if you do not trust a person to not keep what is happening behind the door, just do not elect him.
Thank you. I'll just ask people not to repeat points, and we'll take the rest of the people as direct, as new points, as we believe they're no longer direct. GPSF first.
We understand this concern that you raised EPSA, but still we feel that our duties to support our candidates, and because the duties of office and the General Assembly is like the main responsibility of an LS and an OD. So we should be able to make to fulfill our duties, and then we should be able to take the decision to apply for the EPSA team, because for the past Mondays there were problems with filling all the positions, And we strongly believe that all these are very strong candidates. They have vast knowledge of what's going on in EPSA and the position and regulations. So yeah, we will thrive on these terms. And this indeed is a concern that the current situation we feel that needs this change. So thank you.
Thank you. Abed?
Josué in Portugal. Firstly, we would like to state that we fully support this motion, and we would like to add to the previous discussion that for us, it is not a concern that the person that we're referring to will be able to keep the conversation that was held, but like in closed doors, in the closed doors, because like for DOD that is getting elected, they could have a position about the people that they find the most suitable for different coordinators' positions. But for their association, it could be different. So they could have to, in the closed doors discussion, have to state a position, and then when they're returning to the audit table, they can be forced to have another position in behalf of their association. So we don't really think that that is a concern for this procedure.
Thank you. Association?
Valentine, as of Switzerland. As of Switzerland believes that generally we need changes in associations like EPSA to encounter the problem that we have with inactive members. We need things to change because apparently it has happened in the past, but now it doesn't work. Like if we see, for instance, in House of Switzerland, we are still having open positions even after those positions have been presented for like 7 months. And so we believe that, of course, it can create struggles, like I fully understand presented by Poland, and that in maybe situations from the past where we would have enough ODs and LSs present, then it shouldn't be changed. But as now we have this situation where I think, for instance, Ireland, she's sitting alone at the table, and so so it needs adjustments to the current situation. Therefore, us at Switzerland supports this motion.
Thank you. Next I have Apple.
Annika out of Austria. We would just like to ask if what is the specific concern for this J? Like, do you have this situation? Do you know of the situation upcoming in this J that 2 ODs are going to, or 1 lone OD is going to apply for exec? Because otherwise we feel like this should have more consideration and more alumni, etc. should be asked, and it can still be changed in the next J, and then it's ready for the next elections. Because we do also agree that with the low amount of people applying is an issue, but just if it's not an issue in this J, we would prefer to vote against.
Thank you. First I have a director from EPSA Ireland.
EPSA Ireland, sorry, you kind of actually just addressed what I was going to say. Not that I can speak on behalf of EPSA that we have anything particular for this round of elections, but for like going forward, as Susan said, you know, like I'm alone here, and I think it just like would give the opportunity for potential ODs, and as has been discussed, especially delegates are the ones who are really involved in EPSA, who are really involved in their association, who are more likely to, you know, want to become a part of EPSA or working groups. So I think this having the not having this in place creates a barrier for people to want to apply for things like EPSA when they're part of an association that's maybe smaller in terms of having as management facilities.
Thank you. GPSF, is it still a direct? No? Then we'll take you as a new point. And Alpha?
Annika out of Austria, we agree with your point, but our question was if it's an issue in this J, because before it wasn't known that this is going to be changed. So we would like to know if it's someone, like if someone is not applying because of this and this J for this election, because if it is changed in half a year, it is still in time for the next year's election in wherever. So, and then it could be more research maybe, so maybe it would be a better motion and a better thing.
Does I have a clarification from ASEP Switzerland?
Valentine's, is this even an information that is allowed to give out as the applications are still open?
Point of information from the VC, us, we will not give out that information that we have about applicants. Any personal applicant can speak in this GA, they can say whatever they want about their intentions, but officially we will not say. I have a direct from GPSF first.
I need to be said, please. No, this is not an issue for this GA only. It is for every GA, but I'm sorry. No, this is not an issue for this specific GA. It is for every GA with elections. But we felt the need to put it just for this GA because we didn't have contact with alumni, and we don't feel that we are like in place that we can say we have done investigation and we want this to apply for every GA. You will better understand when this is your next motion. But we need that this is a necessary step. It is a beginning for a change that we feel it must be made. So yes, we're proposing it for this GA so that we can make a beginning. But hopefully this GA and further investigate it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Ireland, is it still a direct? Are you replying to what Eva just said? No? And then we have Faspero with the viewpoints.
Andrei, Faspero, Romania. Although we believe that the first and only priority of an official delegate would be to represent its association, we also stand with these motions as we could test it out and then further investigate with this experience in mind the whole election process.
Thank you. Next, I still have a new point from GPSF. Do you have it? Dropped. And a new point from EPSA Ireland. Dropped as well. Then we don't have any points. Does anyone else wish to speak before we proceed to voting? Joseph, with a technical?
Joseph, present. I close the floor for discussion.
Thank you. Then we'll proceed on voting on the motion as it reads. The 63rd EPSA General Assembly mandates that for the direction of the elections of the EPSA team 2022-2023, any official delegate who is elected for a position in the EPSA executive can go back to the delegation table after their election and remain there for the rest of the elections procedure. If they are elected, they shall make sure that they are speaking as executive elect and not on behalf of their association during the coordinator's appointment meeting. I ask if anyone's against this motion. Thank you. If there are any abstentions? And who votes for? We have we have 18 votes for, 2 against, and 2 abstentions, so the motion was carried. Thank you. Then we'll proceed. We'll go back to where we were with reports, and we will start with the European Affairs Department with the Vice President of European Affairs. Will please present your comments.
Okay, so since I wrote the report, I have been working on finalizing the mental health documentary in collaboration with ESAS, the European Healthcare Student Association Summit, and I have launched the website that I hope everyone will see. And I prepared the PR strategy and the graphics for its promotion. I have also worked on the European Parliament's grant, as well as the new award opportunity in collaboration with the executives and EPSA, our grant coordinator. I have been in contact with stakeholders regarding the Truth for Health commitment letter and Mental Health Europe regarding the Mental Health Week. I worked on Europe Day, as you've seen, and I contacted EPSO and European Youth Forum regarding the CSC grant and its appeal. I had a meeting in Strasbourg with MEP Meds to discuss students' mental health, and I continued working on the traineeship quality framework and discussed with professional organization. If you didn't answer the survey, please.
Thank you, Chloe. I will ask if there are any questions for Chloe. Spain.
Andrei, for Spain, first of all, congratulations on your work. You were always so responsive and it makes everything easier. And as I said in your report, you suggest to try to team up with IPSF in advocacy concerns. I would like to know if you already contact them and which kind of projects can we carry out with them. Thank you.
Chloe PA. So the issue with IPSF is that us as EPSA, we work with European institutions, and IPSF works with WHO and OECD, for example. And basically, advocacy is a process, and everyone lobbies. So if you can only work with part of the institutions, then you lobby less well, I would say. So I think for some topic where WHO could be a great audience, or some topics that are tackled with IPSF, I think it would be important to involve them and do it together.
Thank you.
Joanne France, big congratulations for your mandate and your work. You always put your aesthetic work before everything else, and NF is more than proud to have a person like you representing the European students. Our question is, what will be your recommendation for the main topics to be included in advocacy next year?
Chloe PPA, so the advocacy strategy will be discussed with the next mandate regarding our work that's being done this year and the past years. I think educational topics and basically pharmaceutical skills should be an absolute priority for all the mandates, both for the European department and for the educational department. Regarding the work we're doing now and the opportunities that I think needs to be followed up on in order to have success, I think as you've seen, internship payment and internship framework finally has an importance and relevance this year for the Commission and the European Parliament. So I think it is an open door for us to actually change things. So I think this would be really important. And of course, mental health, since it's a very big topic that is also having a lot of attention, I think we should not stop striving for better mental health for our students.
Thank you. I have another point from Anne.
Joanne France, do you have any idea on how to get the entire EPSA team more involved in advocacy?
Chloe PPA, I think the issue with the EPSA team being involved in advocacy is part of the mindset of EPSA and how it's built. So I think if you start from the handover period by teaching the EPSA team on advocacy and letting everyone know that it is part of their mission to be involved in advocacy, it will change. So I think the executive right now, we have discussed doing a handover weekend, which I think will help a lot for this transition and for involving the whole team in the process.
Thank you. Ape?
Josué Ape, Portugal. So firstly, we would like to thank you for your work and to congratulate you on it because you did such a nice job during the mandate so far. Our question is regarding if you have any ideas on how to get the members more involved in the EPSA advocacy work in general.
Chloe PPA, I think first the creation of the Advocacy Platform Coordinator position has helped in a way. I mean, from my stand, that's how I feel, and I guess the survey that you've been sent will also tell us what you think about it. I think Also, the action groups was something that I really had at heart because last year, ANF, when I was in ANF, we did a collaboration with PSA, ASEP, and I think it was a very interesting one. Yeah, and even like we all kind of taught each other how to do things. So I think action groups will help with members maybe understanding advocacy and being more like understanding it better, getting involved at their level. So this will make them want to be more involved at EPSA's level because they will understand it.
Thank you, Papa.
Giuseppe, actually for the like the advocacy action groups are supposed to have our regular students involved and for them to be these.
Can you make it repeat?
Sorry, is it better? Thank you. So, if we're not mistaken, the advocacy action groups are supposed to have regular students involved and to make advocacy easier for them. So, I was, like, we were meaning how to get our members, associations, just involved in the regular practices of advocacy in general, not only in giving feedback and approving the final document, but also being involved in all the process, like all the processes of APSA's positions.
Including EPA, I think this is a very tricky thing to do, and it has been, I think, a priority for EPAs for many years. I think maybe what could be done, for example, is to, like during VMFs, to propose like to have like an advocacy workshop, or a short one, but like to talk about what EPSA does to students. But since you're talking to students during their event, the members will also be there to understand, see students not liking it, and then I think it's like indirectly promoting it, so they would be interested in it. Also, I think, I mean, it was also my fault, but I had the tasks that I had, I sometimes did not communicate well with the members. So I think this is also something that needs maybe more, like more done better, I think. So yeah, I will definitely advise the EA department to have more constant communication with you, maybe ask for more feedback. But it is tricky seeing the timeline of advocacy documents. Sometimes it's a bit hard, but it should be a priority and a big effort to be done.
Thank you, Annette.
The one in France. This year, during the annual reception, you gave the opportunity to member associations to participate into the panel discussion and present their work. Do you think it is relevant and possible to do it again during the next editions?
Including EPA, so the feedback that I got from alumni, but also from the representative there, they thought that the students' presentation was one of the most important, interesting parts of the event. So I will 100% advise it very strongly to keep doing it. And I think this is also it's the objective of the annual reception to showcase our work. And I think part of EPSA's work is your work, so it should be part of it.
Are there any new questions or comments? If not, thank you so much, Chloe.
We'll move on. And Elisa, come here to present your updates.
Since writing EPSA Grant Coordinator, since writing of my report, I have been busy preparing the application for the European Parliament grant to try to get some funding to cover up at least partly for the loss of the Erasmus Plus grant we did not receive this year. This application will be submitted tonight. In addition, I prepared the application for the European Quality Youth Volunteering Award 2022 that will be submitted before the 15th of May. Also, I started investigating other grants that EPSA could possibly apply for in the future. Also, I attended the 5th meeting.
Thank you. I'll ask if there are questions. Pastor?
Andrei, first from Romania. First of all, congratulations on your whole mandate and on your report. We'd like to ask you, considering that you already have expertise in applying to new types of grants, could you mention some guidelines of applying to those new types of grants?
EPSA Grant Coordinator. Do you mean the guidelines for the Erasmus Plus grant or other grants?
Marine section, since no OD was at the table from EPHD Germany, we need to collect your voting card because there needs to be one official delegate at the table represented at all times. You will get it back at the next roll call if you're there.
Yes, sir?
Yes, Mr. President. I would like to remind everyone, all of the official delegates, if they are leaving their table, raise the technical so we are informed. It's up to the discretion of the chairperson to let you leave your table. And as Marlene said, there always has to be at least one OD present, otherwise you're losing your rights until the start of the next session.
Okay, so I think it was also mentioned yesterday in the official delegates meeting. I was talking about those new types of grants that EPSA is applying to, because there is one that you usually apply to, the one that is what do you call it? On the whole mandate, and some that are only for specific projects. And I was asking you if you could give some guidelines, maybe, so that you could help your successor in applying to those new types of grants.
EPSA Grant Coordinator. As we did not receive the Erasmus Plus grant this year, and is not really, we don't know if we get it the next few mandates. That's still under discussion. I will try to look for a new structural grant, which the Erasmus Plus grant is, which basically covers funding for the organization of an association. But you can also apply for action grants, and that for those grants you get funding for specific projects. So I will also try to look for specific grants that can cover for specific projects.
Thank you. Next I have Afro.
Annika, Afro Austria, we want to thank you for your amazing work with all these difficulties. It's really amazing. We have one question, because you mentioned that from the people from the interns, we wanted to ask if you would recommend for the next person in your position to become also an intern, EPSA intern, if that would be much helpful.
EPSA Grant Coordinator, I would definitely recommend it if it is possible, because you get, if you're in the Brussels bubble, you get the grant opportunities now way sooner. So I got a lot of grant opportunities from COI, and this helped me to prepare the grant applications way more in advance. However, this, of course, the grant coordinator position is not the largest position in the team, so I don't think it's feasible for anyone. But if it is possible, then I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? If not, thank you so much, Elisa.
Mata, please come here to present your updates. Okay.
Policy Coordinator. Since writing the report, I finalized and shared the draft 6th edition of the Policy Newsletter with the Public Relations Department for proofreading and design finalization. I finalized and submitted EPSA's answer to the antimicrobial resistance recommendation for greater action public consultation. The vaccination inter-association position paper developed by the Policy Action Group is in its final phase. I have continued sending reminders to the group and following the group's work. I've summarized all the pharmaceutical internship framework survey responses sent to LSs and APRs. After receiving input from European Association of Hospital Pharmacists, EHP, and considering the insufficient and incomplete number of answers received, I have decided to prepare a new survey to be more accurate and collect more answers. The new survey will be sent to APRs and LSs, and a more individual approach will be tried to guarantee a greater number of answers to the survey.
Thank you. Open the floor for questions or comments. Pastor?
Andrei, Pastor Romania, congratulations, Fatimata, on your mandate and your report. I would like to ask you about the development of the policy toolkit and how would you evaluate it since you didn't manage to finish it.
Fatimata, policy coordinator. I think I was able to prepare the structure for the policy toolkit, which was already a good step forward, but as I mentioned in my report, I wasn't able to prepare the draft as I wish. But I think this will be a good handover project for my successors, so I'm also excited with this opportunity to work on this policy toolkit.
Thank you, Fatimata. Are there any other questions or comments?
France. You mentioned in your report that feedback from LSEs and APRs can be complicated to gather. Do you have any idea to solve this problem?
Fatimata, policy coordinator. I think that what can be improved is to send the documents to APRs and LSEs in more advance. But again, it can be sometimes very difficult because we have the deadlines, and even for us, we have to prepare the documents, and sometimes we send them to other departments for feedback, for the team for feedback before sending to LSEs and APRs. So I understand that it's important to send these documents with more time in advance to give APRs and LS more time to prepare and give us more feedback. But sometimes this is also complicated. One thing that can be improved is maybe to keep people more up to date on what we are working, and maybe when the things arrive, they are more aware of what's happening, and they can be more fast answering to us.
Thank you.
François Adel-France. You said you wish APR to be more involved in public consultations. Do you have any idea how to do that?
Fatimata, policy coordinator. Yeah, one thing I would like to improve is, for example, when EPSA submits an answer to a public consultation, it's also important that EPSA members submit an answer on their own based on EPSA's answer. This is something that I think it wasn't done during this mandate, and it can be improved in the future.
Thank you. Are there any points? If not, thank you so much, Batu.
And you are then please present your update. Technical from Joseph.
Joseph, present. So the technician to look into the system is here. So we will take a break so we can work on the system and we can not do that. Because we will be going to a break. We'll have to perform a roll call to collect your voting rights. Then we will go to the break and we'll review the announcement. So I'd like to ask for anything from the roll call.
Okay, I have AFAC Austria, EPSA Belgium, CPSA Croatia, CPSA Czech Republic, SPSA Slovakia delegated to PSA Czech Republic, SUB Denmark, ANAC France, DPHT Germany, GPSF Greece, EPSA Hungary, EPSA Ireland, SFT Lithuania, KFPC the Netherlands, PPSA Poland, ABF Portugal, PASPA Romania, SHSFD Slovenia, EPSA Serbia delegated to SHSFD Slovenia, PEP Spain, ASEP Switzerland, PEP Sweden delegated to ASEP Switzerland, EPSA International Turkey, and EPSA United Kingdom.
Standing orders are still in place. I have collected 21 voting
Also, if you want water, the GA venue told us that the water there, you can drink it at any time.
Oh, you had to.